My mother gave birth to 8 children, each of whom passed through her to get to this world, each arriving with a scream. Most likely she screamed too. A very loud affair, this birthing of children, with the pushing and the grimacing, the lurching, then the final release before the softness, the cooing, the warm blanket, and the solid little life placed right over the heart. I walked my 2 adopted sons through the airport to deliver them home. I waited quietly, oh so very quietly, for the stranger to stamp our passports, to give permission. I held the first son, a 2-year-old who'd rarely been held, so didn't know to hug me back, next to my heart as I waited. The second son, already 5, was too curious, too independent. He rebuffed my arms, grabbed the side of the official's desk, pulled his head above the ledge, and peered at the man behind the glass. Down, down, don't draw attention. We're not safe yet. My mother's babies were placed without question on her chest, having traveled from inside to outside, a short distance. She and us with shared faces and passed down traits, apples from the same tree. My sons and I waited for the man in uniform to make sense of us. All born in different places, he muttered, glancing at boys with eyes not shaped like mine, with hair and skin the color of caramel, copper, and coal, next to my pink and white. One family with the shades of both winter and summer and the faces of both east and west. My mother's babies first fed on her breast, pulled low by the baby before, as she sat still, just as the cows in the barn of my childhood stood still while their calves suckled. The oldest boys had to be coaxed, my mother said, but I, the next to the last, grabbed a hold tight. The first food I gave my eldest son was a banana purchased from the street vendor near the orphanage gate. He chewed it with baby teeth that had grown in without me. My first meal with my second son was takeout Chinese. Go ahead, pick what you want. Find your favorite in the fancy display. Take 2, won't we be fun to live with? My mother's babies grew, pitched fastballs. Ma, look at me. Spelled MISSISSIPPI for the first time. Flipped to find the naked women in National Geographic. My sons grow too, pitching fastballs. Mama, watch. I find a picture of a girl's face tucked in the folds of the Cub Scout manual. They banter at breakfast. Ben, can you spell Mississippi? National Geographic is thinner now. I police YouTube instead. My mother's babies went off to Washington, to California, to Florida, to the big city, to the house next door, to days spent in offices, on freeways, tractor seats, and horseback. One went off to war and came back more broken than before. I watched cancer drugs fill my veins, save my life, but weaken my eggs. We return, me every year, to the farm 3 miles south of town on the stretch of gravel road where 6 tall pines stood in a row. We all walk, slower than before, to visit my mother's grave, and her mother's too. My sons come home to me each day. Their backpacks jingle with keychains from my Minnesota and their Taiwan and Kazakhstan. They carry books, Chinese made easy for kids, and violas they pretend to play. They come home with ideas. Mama, when I grow up, I want to be a caveman. Sometimes they come home with questions. But Mama, who born me? I search for the answer that will make it all better, make it all right. I find only the truth. Your birth mother, I say. Not you, they ask, their little boy faces, eyes so big, looking up at me. No, not me. My shoulders droop, my grief no longer about the ones who didn't pass through me, instead about the space between the ones who now stand before me and myself. I want no space. They will ask about her when they are older, when they ache. I will be ready. A soft, both sad and happy smile spreads across my face. I didn't get to born you from my tummy, I tell them. I born you from my heart.